is a kind of success the world never applauds. It does not appear on stages or in newspapers. No one rushes to congratulate it. And yet, it is the most enduring kind of success there is, the kind that is built quietly, thread by thread, in the humble corners of ordinary life. This is the story of a weaver who understood that truth long before anyone else did. In the foothills of Rajasthan, where the wind carries the scent of dry earth and wild marigold, there was a small village called Sujanpur. The village was not remarkable in any obvious way. Its lanes were narrow and sun-baked. Its homes were modest, their walls the color of old clay. But if you walked through its market at dawn, before the heat settled in, you would hear a sound that gave the place its quiet heartbeat, the steady, rhythmic clacking of a hand loom. That sound belonged to Govind. Govind was a patient man, a skilled man, and a man of few words. Every morning before the sun crested the hills, he was already at his loom, his weathered hands moving with a certainty that only comes from years of devoted practice. He wove cotton cloth, the kind used for everyday turbans and simple saris, the kind no one ever boasted about owning. His work was not glamorous, but every piece he produced was tight, even, and honest. Not a single crooked thread, not a single shortcut hidden inside. He had a neighbor, a man named Suresh, who was also a weaver. Suresh was clever in a different way. He was quick with words, quick with a smile, and quicker still with the kind of thinking that always looked for the easier path. While Govind spent hours perfecting each length of cloth, Suresh had learned to loosen his tension slightly, to widen his weave just enough that the fabric looked fine at first glance but would not hold its shape after a season of use. His cloth sold fast, it was priced low, and buyers did not note the difference until long after they had left the market stall. People in the village noticed the contrast between them. Suresh bought new tools. He expanded his small shop. He hired a young boy to help at the loom. At the weekly market in the town below the hills, he was loud and cheerful, drawing buyers with his laughter and easy confidence. Govind, meanwhile, sat quietly at his modest stall, speaking only when spoken to, asking no one for attention and receiving very little of it. Some of the older women in the village shook their heads gently when they passed Govind's home in the evening. "Such a good man," they would murmur, "but such a quiet fool." Even his wife, though she loved him deeply, sometimes looked at their simple tin kitchen and felt the weight of their careful life. "Perhaps," she said once softly, "you could cut a little here, save a little time there." Govind only smiled and said, "The loom always knows, Kamala, and so does the cloth." Years passed like monsoon clouds, heavy, slow, and full of something unseen. Then one autumn, a textile merchant from Jaipur came to Sujanpur. He was not an ordinary buyer. He supplied cloth to a reputable house in the city, one that needed fabric of consistent quality, fabric that would carry a name. He went first to Suresh's stall, drawn by its energy and color. He ran a practiced thumb across a length of cloth. He folded it, he held it to the morning light, and then, quietly, he set it back down. He knew. He had seen cloth like this before, cloth that made promises it could not keep. He walked further down the lane until he reached Govind's stall. There was no sign outside it, no boy calling out prices, no decorative bunting. There was only a small stack of cloth, folded with such care it looked almost ceremonial. The merchant picked up a piece and went very still. He stretched it gently. He pressed it between his fingers. He turned it over and examined the back, the side that buyers never look at, the side that cannot lie. The weave was perfect. Even on the back, where no one would ever see, the threads were flawless. He looked at Govind. "How long have you been weaving like this?" Govind shrugged simply. "Since I was a boy, my father showed me." "And you never told anyone your cloth was this good?" Govind looked at him steadily. "The cloth tells its own story." The merchant placed an order that day that was larger than anything Govind had seen in a decade of market days. And over the seasons that followed, he came back again, and again, he sent others. Word moved quietly, not through announcements or celebrations, but through the slow, trustworthy channel of quality itself. Govind's work began to travel to Jaipur, then to Delhi, then further still. His small home grew, not suddenly, but gradually, the way a tree grows, almost invisibly, one season at a time, until one day you look up and realize the shade has become enormous. Suresh's shop, meanwhile, had grown louder but hollower. Buyers returned with complaints. His hired boy had left. The merchant from Jaipur never came back to his stall, and one afternoon, standing in the lane watching a cart carry Ano, their order away from Govind's door, Suresh felt something he had never quite felt before. Not envy exactly, but a deep and humbling recognition. He had been fast. He had been clever. And he had built something that looked like success from the outside, but had no foundation beneath it. He sat down on the stone step of his shop and was quiet for a very long time. Now, here is what the weaver's story teaches us, and it is a lesson that belongs not just to weavers or markets or dusty village lanes. It belongs to every one of us, wherever we are building something with our hands and our hours. Think of a river and a pond. The pond is full of activity on its surface. Ripples, reflections, the constant movement of things floating across it. But it has no outlet. It does not flow. And because it does not flow, over time it grows stagnant, its water thick and still. The river, by contrast, moves without fanfare. It does not announce itself as it passes through the hills, but it reaches the ocean every time. Govind was a river. He moved quietly, steadily, and his work always reached where it was meant to go. This ancient truth speaks directly to the lives we lead today. In a world that rewards loudness, where every platform asks us to announce ourselves, to perform our effort, to make our work visible before it is even finished, we have forgotten the power of the back of the cloth. We have forgotten that quality always finds its merchant eventually. Silence is not absence. Silence is preparation. So understand this. First, that your work is speaking even when you are not. Every thread you lay with honesty is an argument being made on your behalf, quietly, to people you have not yet met. Second, recognize that shortcuts borrow from the future. They feel like savings, but they are debts, and they come due. Third, remember that the world's most reliable compass is not applause, it is integrity. When you do your best work even where no one is watching, especially where no one is watching, you are building something that no one can take from you. Fourth, be patient with the pace of real growth. A tree that grows slowly has deeper roots. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Sometimes the most powerful thing happening is happening underground. And fifth, let your silence be filled not with absence, but with intention. Work quietly. Work carefully. Work as if the merchant from Jaipur is always about to arrive, because one day he will. The back of the cloth never lies. Neither does yours. Ask yourself today, in the places where no one is watching, in your work, your habits, your choices, are you weaving with honesty? Because the world's most lasting rewards are not given to the loudest, they are given to the truest.